So up north, where that's where they really push these things. I refer to it as they're domesticating these biblical images. So again, the Robert Campen, again the Annunciation, where we have Mary and Gabriel in the center here. But where is Mary? What room is she in? So if you think about what your house might look like in 1426, probably might be pretty similar looking. And so again, is this Mary high up on the throne? Mary, Mother of God, and, all the other grandeur, great things with Mary, or is it Mary down the street? Mary you go and have coffee with, or tea, whatever. So taking her off her big heavenly throne, setting her down right next door to you. So again, it's this, they're not these far off, distant people. They're just like you and me. As these ideas within the Christian doctrine and all that, as that's all changing, the artists are changing the imagery along with it. So as we're getting rid of the cult of saints, we're getting rid of the middleman, bringing God, putting him right down here on earth, and all the other heavy-hitting Christian people, putting him down here on earth. There's no difference between me and them. We're all the same. Basically, what they're saying in the church. So the art starts, of course, reflecting that. So if you kind of compare the two, whereas the Titian, much more dramatic, a whole lot more going on there. It's theatrical. It's good theater. It would be a better binge watching thing, as opposed to the camping where we just get these two people hanging out in a house. So not as much drama going on with it. And some of the other things with the Northern Renaissance, uh, less symbolism. As you can see, the difference between the Campen and the Titian. They're much more down to earth. They're much more, like I said, domesticated. And Albert Durr, that we're looking at here, and Grunwald, who we'll look at next, they both went to Italy, and they learned a lot of stuff from other Italian artists and all the other stuff that they saw. And at the same time, they're sharing their ideas with the artists down in Italy. A lot of crosstalk and things like that are going on. These exchange of ideas. So when we get to mannerism, we'll see how it's like North and South are coming together. Like I was talking about with the stable kingdoms and all of that, you get the exchange of ideas and information, and travel is a little bit easier. So here we have Adam and Eve. So if you do a comparison with Michelangelo's Adam compared to Durr's Adam, which one seems a little more kind of superhero-ish? And Durr, okay, he's kind of got a good build there, but is he juicing that much? Do I got to worry about the roid rage like Michelangelo's Adam? I mean, he's pretty buff looking. Uh, yeah, Dur's Adam. He's got a good build, and Eve, they're maybe into yoga, something like that. But Michelangelo's Adam could be, you might got to worry about a little roid rage with him. So it's almost like these sort of, superhero biblical people, where yeah, they're, obviously emphasis on human anatomy, but they're not so kind of, they're not real superhero-ish. Uh, and then Grunwald, Eisenheim altarpiece. So give you kind of a minute. So kind of check it out, and what's going on there. You know, why so brutal? Well, what happened to Jesus right before the crucifixion. Uh, that he was scorned, and basically getting scorned was a massive beating, basically, that the Romans would do. Romans were real good at punishment. They enjoyed their punishing people. So Jesus got to start his day off being whipped with like little canes. They're hitting with canes, so you probably got some whelping. You might have some lacerations from repeated areas, an area being hit repeatedly, but it's going to leave some bruisings and some whelps. Then they would get into cat o' nine tails, leather whips, things like that. Now you're getting to lacerations and cuts and soft tissue damages, thing like that. Then they would bring out another set of whips where they would have like little barbs and hooks and things like that. So now you're getting into like flesh removal. Yes, it was gruesome. So why would Grunwald do that? Why would he paint such this horrific image of the crucifixion? I mean, he's like real sickly looking. His hands are all gnarled, and I mean, he's a jacked up mess. And that's the best way I could think of describe it is, dude, he got beat. I mean, there could be some broken bones going on there. That was, one of the things where during crucifixion, if you didn't quite fit on the cross, well, they would make you fit on the cross. So if that meant breaking and rearranging bones, that's what the Romans would do. So why would Grunwald do that? Why so horrific? What would be the reason for that? You can see the image down sort of below the kind of lamentation image of Jesus there. It's like, God, he just got beat. So Grunwald doing that, knowing his target audience. So the town of Eisenheim, shortly before Grunwald painted this, well, the reason he had to paint this was there was a horrific fire in the town. So if you survive the town, if you survive the fire in this town, how do you think you might appear? You could be disfigured. setting bones and things like that wasn't exactly, well, I mean, it's something they would do, but it was more like, it's close enough kind of thing. Not exactly proper setting and things like that. So, yeah, you could be pretty disfigured, you could be scarred. Uh, so, who are, which Jesus is going to understand your pain and suffering? You know, Michelangelo's roid rage, buff Jesus, who, he's got a little bit of a scratch on him there, on his rib cage there, and kind of see a little bit of a hole in his hand. But for the most part, again, roided up and all that looking, superhero Jesus, he's not going to understand my pain. He's not going to understand suffering. Did he look like he suffered? No, not really. I don't think he suffered that much. But looking at Grunwald's, he suffered. He understands my pain. I can relate to that Jesus. So, like I said, Grunwald purposely painting Christ in this way so that he's relatable. Like I say, who is someone that would understand your pain and anguish that you're, physically, that you're going through, and that's the kind of Jesus you would want to see in your church. It's again just Grunwald knowing his target audience, wanting a Jesus that you could relate to. And then genre paintings, as they're referred to, scenes of the everyday life starts to become a subject matter in a way, but there's still like heavy Christian undertones. God's wonderful bounty, the gift of the harvest. There's all the other little symbolisms within the paintings that you could dissect. While yes, it's about every day, it's still very sort of Christian-y, or a lot of Christian undertones to these genre paintings that start to pop up. And then finally, getting into mannerism, it's, the Teneretto, Last Supper. So comparing it, mannerism, late Renaissance, comparing it to Leonardo's Last Supper during the High Renaissance. So, which one is like sort of picture perfect and posed looking? The Leonardo one. It's like everyone's on the right side of the table, everyone's sort of in the place, and you have this nice big room, but yet the table's like right up front as you walk in. There's all this empty space in the back. So it's like Leonardo showing off all of his greatness and his grandeur, but it still seemed a little too composed of an image. Where the Tanneretto, there's a little more action going on. Again, if really look at the setting, it's more of a contemporary setting. The clothes worn by sort of the wait staff, I guess you could say. Although in the Bible, it was Jesus rented a private room. Here we have this room full of all kinds of people other than the invited guests of Jesus. Of course, they all have their little halos, and Jesus has like the big spotlight on them. So from the Titian, sort of the drama starting to take place. And really, if we were to, take a look at a bunch of Raphael's paintings, towards the end of Raphael's, he was always struggling with, how do I give my paintings all this life and energy, like like Michelangelo. He starts, getting a little bit darker backgrounds and halos and things like that. So by the time we got to Tanneretto, backgrounds are getting much darker, much more uh, vibrant type imagery. Uh, so, so next we'll pick up with the Baroque period.